An album I never ever thought I was going to make during lockdown. I had no plans to make any music at all during lockdown. So this really came together as an accident. It started in March 2020, and I met Charlie Puth at a restaurant in Los Angeles. I'd never met him before. And he actually lived only 4 doors away from me in LA. And he said, look, I've got a studio if you feel like coming up while you're here and writing something. So I did. And it's the track that appears on the record, after all. And that was fantastic. And the next day, I worked on the Surfaces track via Zoom, the first thing I'd ever done by Zoom. They were in Texas, and I played piano and sang on that track. And so the first two things really were those two things. And I came back to England, and then Damon Albarn asked me to play on Gorillaz. Rina Sawayama asked me to do a duet and play piano on Chosen Family. I did the Metallica Miley Cyrus track with Andrew Watt. I did It's a Sin with Ollie Alexander, and then I went and did Glenn Campbell and Little Nas X, and I thought, I've got the germ of an album here. It's fun, and I have to say, I never, ever thought of making a record during lockdown whatsoever, and it's become a joyous thing for me. I learned something from each artist that I work with that I wouldn't normally have learned, from Stevie Nicks, from Stevie Wonder, from Sam Lewis to Little Nas X. I learned something from each of them. And if you're at my age, which I'm 74 now, and you can still be learning from other musicians, that's the greatest gift of all. You can never stop learning as a musician. If you shut your mind off and say, I've done it all now, I can do everything now, I don't need to hear anything else, then for me, that's the dead end. I'm more excited now about music than I've ever been. I've loved her for so long. I'm one of the greatest voices. Fleetwood Mac are so lucky they got 2 female vocalists, Christine McVie and Stevie, that are 2 of the greatest voices in rock and roll. And Stevie's so distinctive that she was on a bucket list, and it's great to be able to work with people that are great, but you've never had the chance to work with before. It's just, again, it's a thrill. It's a thrill. And, at my age, getting a new thrill from music is, it's really important. I love all sorts of music, and I've played on all sorts of records, and I've played and sung on all sorts of records when I was younger, from Tom Jones to the Hollies to various things. And now it gave me a thrill to see Young Thug come into the studio and freestyle. And it's like, anyone who knocks rap, just to say, oh, it's a load of old rubbish, I was blown away. I mean, it's just, you have to see these people at work. It's a different genre of music from mine, and I wouldn't know where to start. It's the same as Sam Lewis and electronic music. I wouldn't know where to begin. That's why I wanted to work with him. And in fact, when I gave him the song and he gave me the first version of it, it was too Elton John-ish, and I wrote a full song with him and his lyric writer. And I said, Sam, this is not why I wanted to work with you. Make it into an S.G. Lewis track. And that's what he's done. I think he was intimidated because he was frightened to insult me, but I just wanted to be insulted. He got there in the end, and he didn't insult me at all. He made the record that I wanted to make with Sam. Out of this has come a lot of friendships and a lot of magic, and I'm really loving what I'm doing.